सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः। अद्य सिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः हलन्तपुल्लिङ्गप्रकरणे चतुर्थः पाठः। आगस्ट् मासस्य 2 दिनाङ्कः। येनाक्षरसमां नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीं विरच्यते। Continuing with the revision of what we did last week. हकारान्तेषु पुल्लिङ्गेषु लिह दुह दृह इति त्रयः उदाहरणत्वेन स्वीकृताः दीक्षितैः। लिह इति होढः इति सूत्रस्य यत्र पदान्ते हकारस्य ढत्वं भवति। दुः इति दादेर्धातोर्घः इति सूत्रस्य येन विद्यमानस्य हकारस्य स्थाने घत्वं भवति। द्रुः इत्यत्र तु वा दृहमुहश्नुहश्निहाम् इत्यनेन वैकल्पिकं घत्वं तदभावे होढः इति ढत्वमपि श्रूयते। तदनन्तरं विश्ववाः इति शब्दः। अत्र तु हकारस्य विषये संशयः नास्ति। साधारणतया हकारान्तत्वात् होढः इति पदान्ते ढत्वं भवति। तेन सह भसंज्ञायां सत्यां वाह ऊठ् इत्यनेन सम्प्रसारणं भवति। वाहः सम्प्रसारणम् ऊठ्। वाह इत्यत्र यः वकारः सम्प्रसारणम् इत्यनेन इग्यणः सम्प्रसारणम्। इकः यणः स्थाने यः इक् तस्य सम्प्रसारणम् इत्युच्यते। अत्र यण् नाम वकारः। वकारस्य स्थाने ऊकारः सम्प्रसारणत्वेन विधीयते भसंज्ञायां शस्प्रभृतिषु अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु। विश्व वाह इत्यस्ति। विश्व ऊ आह सम्प्रसारणाच्च इति पूर्वरूपे विश्व ऊह इति भवति। अकार ऊकारयोः गुणं बाधित्वा एत्येतत्युट्सु इत्यनेन वृद्धौ विश्वौहः इति रूपं द्वितीया बहुवचने। विश्ववाट् विश्ववाहौ विश्ववाहः विश्ववाहं विश्ववाहौ विश्वौहः विश्वौहा विश्ववाड्भ्यां विश्ववाड्भिः। हलादिषु प्रत्ययेषु ढत्वं भवति। अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु सम्प्रसारणं वृद्धिश्च। इत्येकः शब्दः। अपरः विशिष्टः शब्दः अनडुः। हकारान्तः अनडुः शब्दः। अत्र पूर्वोक्तं किमपि कार्यं न भवति। ढत्वधत्वादिकमपि न भवति। अत्र विशिष्टान्येव कार्याणि सन्ति सर्वाणि। अनडुः शब्दस्य सर्वनामस्थानेषु परेषु चतुरनडुहोरामुदात्तः इत्यनेन आम् इत्यागमः क्रियते। आम् इति मित्तागमः अन्त्यादचः परः भवति। सम्बुद्धौ तु आमं बाधित्वा अम् आगमो भवति अम् सम्बुद्धौ इति सूत्रेण। सो अनडु आह अथवा अनडु अह इति भवति। आमि अमि वा कृते सौ परे अकारात् परत्वे परं सावनडुहः इत्यनेन नुमागमोऽपि भवति. This is one of the very rare cases where you are finding two agamas occurring at the same thing. You have am and the following am you also have num. Okay. So you have anadva n h hakara gets deleted by sanyogantasya lopah. Then anadvan anadvahu anadvahah he anadvan iti sambuddhau an iti amah akarah अन्यत्र सर्वनामस्थानेषु आमः आकारः श्रूयते। अनड्वाहम् अनड्वाहौ अनडुहः इति भवति। अनन्तरं पदान्ते यत्र हलादयः प्रत्ययाः तत्र स्वादिश्वसर्वनामस्थाने इत्यनेन पदसंज्ञायां सत्यां पदान्ते हकारस्य स्थाने दकारः आदेशो विधीयते। वसुस्रं सुध्वं स्वनडुहां दः इति सूत्रेण। तेन अनडुः भ्याम् इति स्थिते हकारस्य स्थाने दकारे अनडुद्भ्याम् अनडुद्भिः इत्यादीनि रूपाणि। That was there are two special hakarantas which we saw. So केचन प्रयोगाः अपि दृष्टाः। एतन् वृत्तिमुद्दिश्य भगवत्यप्रतिद्रुहि दृह्यत्यज्ञः पृथक् दृष्टिः तत्त्वतो विमुखो भवेत् इति भागवते कः हकारान्तशब्दः अत्र उपयुज्यते this is not just druhi. Yes.
Druhi.
It's not just druhi, it is apratidruhi as the word. Druhi is correct, but the word, the samastapada is apratidruhi. Hakarantah pulingaha apratidruh.
There is another one also, druhyatya.
I thought that would be confusing. Is that druhyati is atinganta.
Yeah.
Okay, so druh is a dhatu, so druhyati is the tinganta there, and apratidruhi is the subanta derived from the same dhatu. Right? So etan martyamuttishya bhagavati apratidruhi is the subanta, druhyati is druhadhatoh lati prathama ekavachanam druhyati iti druhyati पृथक् दृष्टिः तत्त्वतो विमुखो भवेत्. The meaning of druha dhatu is droha. Druha, what is that? Jighamsayam iti dhatuh. Druha is where you intend to hurt somebody or you. Meaning of the sentence, I'll come to it. So apratidruh is the word. Saptami ekavachane apratidruhi iti bhavati. Apratidruh shabdah tasya सप्तमी एकवचने ङि प्रत्ययः अजादित्वात् अत्र घत्वं दत्वम् इत्यादि कार्यं किमपि नास्ति just the word join them and you have it. Okay, so the sentence is I'm not completely familiar with the context of the thing. It says apratidruhi bhagavati martyamuddishya apratidruhi bhagavati. It says bhagavati, the Lord is apratidruhi, will never do droha back to you, and whatever sin or crime you commit against the Lord, he will never think of getting back or taking revenge at a human being. That is, the God is above all, the Lord is above all such limitations. Yaha martyamuddishya apratidruhi bhagavati. So with regard to the Lord who is never, pratidroha is when you do droha, the whatever the revenge taken is called pratidroha, and the Lord is never the one to take such steps. So with regard to such a Lord, yaha druhyati, he who commits droha, agyaha, such an ignorant man, prithak drishtihi, and he who sees the Lord as separate from himself, tattvataha vimukho bhavet, he is going away from the truth or going away from the what is the reality, is what it means in this. So apratidruhi is the word which I was looking for. Okay, the next one from the Bhagavata, anobhir anadudyuktaihi tamanugyapya gokulam. This actually does not have the forms of anaduha, as in none of the 21 forms, but I just included it because it has an illustration of a sutra which we studied. Can somebody point out? Kashabdaha. It's very obvious. No? Yeah, anadud yuktaihi is the word. It's a samasa actually, so it's not a form of anaduh shabda. But you see that it is anaduh and yukta. Samase padaktam asti. So there are two different words which are joining in samasa. Padantatvat ususram suddham sanaduham daha. Padante तस्य दकारादेशः इत्यनेन हकारस्य स्थाने दकारादेशः कृतः अत एव अनडुद्युक्तैः. He says anobhihi anadudyuktaihi. Anaha means a shakata, a cart. That is why an ox or the bull is called anadut. Anaha vahati iti anadvan. Anaduh shabdasya sa eva arthaha. So anobhihi, in carts, anadudyuktaihi, which are fitted with bullocks, tam anugyapya gokulam, sending him to Gokula. Somebody, the context we need to, with whom, sending whom. But he is saying anadudyuktaihi anobhihi, in carts which are fitted with bulls, tam Gokulam anugyapya, permitting him to leave to Gokula. Okay. Soyam durmarsha hridayo brahmadhrukta lokepakirtim mahatim amapsyati. Should be easy. We saw a very similar usage yesterday. We have brahmadhruk. We saw mitradhruk yesterday. He who acts against a friend. Brahmadhruk, he who acts against whatever. Brahma can be, has a lot of meanings. It can be mean a dvija or it can mean parabrahma. Here it probably means brahmanaha ityarthe brahma shabdaha. Brahmadhruk cha loke mahatim apakirtim avapsyati. Such a person will get will incur infamy in the world. So brahmadhruk, brahmadruh iti hakarantah pullingaha prathamaikavachane प्रक्रियातु ज्ञायते. दृह शब्दः ब्रह्मदृह शब्दः सुलोपः सुप्रत्ययः लोपः दृह वा दृहमुः श्नुः श्निहाम् इत्यनेन विकल्पेन घत्वं दृघ इति जाते एकाचो वशो भष् इत्यनेन दकारस्य स्थाने धकारः धृघ इति भवति. जलां जशोन्त इति जष्ट्वं खरिच इति चत्वं ब्रह्मधृक् इति रूपम्. Just one thing, when I was going through this Vadruhamu Hashnu Hashniham, so Panini specifically says it's a vikalpa. It is for Drha Shabda, it's a vikalpa, so there is an optional Ghatva, there is also an optional Dhatva. It is, you can also have forms like Brahmadhrut or Brahmadhrud. But I was trying to find prayogas for all. And wherever I find this druh, whether it is mitradhruk or brahmadhruk, I always able to find only the ghatva form of it. Even in the Vedas, there is some form where ghatva itself has been used. I have so far not been able to find a form in literature where the dhatva form has been used, where as in dhrut or dhrud. So if anybody of you anytime comes across such a usage, please inform me, because for Panini to specific ghatva was already been done through the previous sutra. Dadya dhatorkha ityanena ghatvam prapnoti sma. So specifically included this for dhatva means there must be a special usage where the dhatva form is there. But yeah, I'd like to find that form for any of those, especially for druha dhatu. Okay, the last one. Anadvaham suvratam yo dadati halasya odharam anantaviryam dhurandharam balavantam vivanam prapnoti lokan dasha dhenu dasya. From the Mahabharata. Anybody with the word and the prakriya quickly? अनड्वाहम् अनडुः शब्दस्य द्वितीय एकवचने रूपम् अनड्वाहम् कथं रूपम् अनडुः अम् इत्यस्ति चतुरनडुहोरामुदात्तः इत्यनेन आमागमः नडु आह अम् इको एणचि इत्यनेन एणादेशे अनड्वाहम् श्लोका says यः अनड्वाहं ददाति he who gives a bull as the dana. Usually godana is the famous one, dhenu or the cow is given, but he says he who gives a bull as the dana. Halasya odharam, that which can draw the plow. Dhurandharam, bear weight. Balavantam, yuvanam, a young bull which is very strong. Saha dhenu dasya dashalokan prapnoti, he gets 10 times as much merit as a person who does godana, is what this shloka says. So, coming back to the lesson, we finished vakarantaha pullingaha. हकारान्ताः समाप्ताः अनन्तरं वकारान्तपुल्लिङ्गेषु सुदिव् शब्दः दिव शब्दः नित्यस्त्रीलिङ्गः समासे कृते सुदिव् इति पुल्लिङ्गे दिव औत् इत्यनेन सुप्रत्यये परे औकारः दिव उत् इत्यनेन पदान्ते उकारः उभयं दृष्टम् ह य व र ततः रेफः रेफान्ताः पुल्लिङ्गाः चतुर् शब्दः एक द्वि त्रि चतुर. The word chatur is the pratipadika for 4 and nityam bahuvachanantaha. Since it means 4, it's a numeral with it has only bahuvachana and no ekavachana or dvivachana. Okay. Chatur jas pratyayah bahuvachanatvat adaveva jas pratyayah kriyate. Chatur as iti sthite. Chatur anaduhor amudattah, which we have been saying for anaduh, just like we had for anaduh. Chatur shabdasyapi sarvanamasthane pare am ityagamah kriyate. Am antyanachah parah ukarat paratvena amagamah chatu ar as ityasti. Iko enachi ityanena enadeshe chatvar as jayate. Sasajushoruhu ityanena rutve visarge chatvarah. इति पुल्लिङ्गे प्रथम बहुवचने रूपं चत्वारः. शस् प्रत्यये परे किं भवति तदेव चतुर् अस् इत्यस्ति किन्तु शसः सर्वनामस्थानत्वं नास्ति. सुट् अनपुंसकस्य सुडः एव सर्वनामस्थानत्वं शसः नास्ति. अतः आमागमोऽपि न भवति सर्वनामस्थानाभावात्. केवलं चतुरस् रुत्वं विसर्गः चतुरः. So Chaturaha is a word which poets are very fond of using because it gives shlesha. Chaturaha iti prathamaikavachane chet kaschit clever ityarthe visheshanignam. It's an adjective. Kintu Chaturaha iti द्वितीया बहुवचने अपि बहुधा प्रयुज्यते. चतुरो वेदान् अधीते. If you are saying Chaturaha Vedan Adhite means he reads the 4 Vedas. Dvitiya Bahuvachane or Chaturaha Vedan Adhite. So, I mean, such usages are very popular in literature. Sarvanamasthanatvabhavena amagamo nasti. Chatvaraha Chaturaha Chaturbhihi Bhisi kimapi nasti. Chaturbhis ऋत्वविसर्गयोः कृतयोः चतुर्भिः चतुर्भ्यः पुनः चतुर्भ्यः चतुर् आम् इति स्थिते षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च इति सूत्रं षट् चतुर्भ्यः च ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट् इति सूत्रात् नुट् इति अनुवर्तते. षट् सम्यकेभ्यः चतुरश्च परस्य आमः नुडागमः स्यात्. So for words which have shat samya and for the word chatur, the am which follows these will get nut as the agama. Shat samya kaha ke. What is shat samya?
श्नान्ता
सत्यं श्नान्ता षट् षकारान्ता नकारान्ता च संख्या षट् संज्ञा स्यात् any numeral which is ending in sh or n gets the षट् संज्ञा. For example, the word shash itself. So you have shanam, or you have panchan, you have panchanam. सर्वत्र नुट् इति आगमो भवति. षट्संज्ञकेभ्यः चतुरश्च परस्य आमः नुडागमः स्यात्. नत्वं द्वित्वं कथं चतुर् आम् इत्यस्ति. षट्चतुर्भ्यश्च इत्यनेन नत्वे चतुर् न आम्. अनन्तरं नत्वं नत्वं केन सूत्रेण
वर्षाभ्यां नोनः समानपदे.
right दशाभ्यां नो नः समानपदे. One of the very rare cases. The general what we see is at Kupangam. This is one case where the repha is immediately preceding the nakara. So rashabhyam no nah samanapade rephat parasya nakarasya natvam syat ityane natve chaturna. Dvitvam kena Muttulakshmi.
अचो रहाभ्यां द्वे.
Right. Acho rahabhyam dve. If you remember from long ago, Atsandhi Prakarane Drishtam Ditta Prakaranam. So I saw it. Acho rahabhyam dve. Korthaha Achah parabhyam rephaha karabhyam parasya yarah dvevastah. This is utartha. Achah parabhyam ach nama ukaraha ukarat paraha yaha rephaha chatur n ityasti. उकारात् पराः रेफः रेफात् परस्य इयर् वर्णस्य द्वे वास्तः इति सूत्रार्थः. तेन द्वित्वे कृते चतुर्णाम् इति नकारस्य द्वित्वम्. तदभावे नाम् इत्यपि अस्ति. So अचोरहाभ्यां द्वे is an optional sutra, but generally it is preferred to do dvitva when there is a possibility of a dvitva. So the last form will be chatur su saptami bahuvachane. Chatur su iti sthite खरवसानयोर् विसर्जनीयः इति रेफस्य विसर्गः प्राप्नोति. खरि अवसाने च परे रेफस्य विसर्जनीयः स्यात् इति सूत्रार्थः. Okay. What's the question? How can you have na for dvitva? I didn't understand. What's the question?
No, the second na, how they when you do the dvitva, after that that is asiddha towards the rashva arabhyam, right? So how did you get the second na then?
The na itself is the dvitva.
So
you are doing dvitva for nakara.
So naka, is it the first? Is it na or na dvitva?
Na.
Dvitva.
The murdhanya. You do because Shabhyam Nona Samanapade 841. You do the Natva first.
Okay.
Natve krite Nakarasya Dvitvam. This is 8446.
Okay, so you don't do the fourth na and then convert it into a third na or something.
No. The first Natva has to happen first because Dvitva is asiddha for Natva.
Okay.
First we do Natva. Natve krite tasya Nakarasya Dvitvam bhavati. Achorahabhyam dve. Natva has to be first because in Tripadi it has to go in that order. Adau natvam natve krite nakarasya dvitvam. So chaturunam iti nadvayam shruyate. Chatur su. रेफा when followed by khar, kharvasanayor visarjaniyah ityanena visargasya praptihi asti. Roh supi iti sutram. Visargaha neshyate. We do not want a visarga there. So what we do? Padadvayam rohu supi. Kharvasanayor visarjaniyah ityatah visarjaniyah iti anuvartate. So this sutra immediately follows kharvasanayor visarjaniyah. It says rohu supi visarjaniyah. Supi roreva visarjaniyah ityartha. Saptami bahuvachane. Supi, here sup means the pratyaya, which is sup. Saptami bahuvachane roreva visarjaniyah. It is only ru. Rohu nama rutvam. Yatra rutvam kriyate. Where there is the rutva by sasajashvaruhu or something. So there we can convert the ru to visarjaniya. Na anya rephasya. If there is originally a repha, we cannot convert it into visarga. What kind of a sutra is this? This is a niyama sutra, exactly. So siddhe sati arabhyamano vidhihi niyamaya bhavati. So the niyama is supi roreva visarjaniyaha. When followed by saptami bahuvachana, only repha which is derived as ru will get visarga, will get converted into a visarga, and not any other repha. Shatvam chaturshu. Chatursu ityasti. So the visarjaniya is prevented. So the repha remains as it is. Chatursu itisthite. Adesha pratyayoho ityanena shatvam bhavati. In kavargabhyam parasya. Repha belongs to in. So since it is in, inah parasya pratyayavayavasya sup pratyayavayavasya sakarasya sthane shakarah murdhanyah adesho bhavati. Ityanena shatve chaturshu iti rupam. Shasya dvitve prapte. So again, just like we did in Chaturnam, here also we have a possibility of dvitva. Achorahabhyam dve. Dvitve prapte. Sharochi iti sutram. Padadvayam sharaha achi. Achorahabhyam dve ityatah dve iti anvartate. Nadinyakroshye putrasya iti sutrena na ityapi anvartate. Dvitvam na ityarthaha. Sharaha achi dve na. Very simple. Achi pare sharaha dve nastaha. And followed by an ach, a shar letter, sh, sa will not be doubled. Tesham dvitvam na bhavati. Chaturshu ityasti. Achah paraha rephaha, rephat paraha shar nama shakaraha. Shakarat paratvena ajvaranaha vidyate, ukaraha. So when followed by ach, a shar letter will not be doubled. So shakarasya dvitvam na bhavati. Chaturshu ityeva rupam. Eka eva shakara shruyate. So chaturshabdaha ekavachaneva dvivachaneva rupani na santi. Sarvanamasthane chaturanduho ramudattaha ityanena amagamo bhavati chatvaraha iti rupam. Ami षट्चतुर्भ्यश्च इत्यनेन नुट् भवति. नुटि कृते अचोरहाभ्यां द्वे इत्यनेन द्वित्वमपि भवति. Okay. So that's about Chatur Shabda itself. What happens when this Chatur Shabda is a part of a samasa? A question. So he says there is a word which can be constructed like Priya Chatur. Priyaha Chatvaraha Yasya Saha. He for whom four are dear. Say for example Dasharatha. Dasharatha could be indicated by the samasa where he had four sons who were very dear to him. Priyaha Chatvaraha Yasya Saha. Now this is a Bahuvrihi, and in a Bahuvrihi and this thing, so Bahuvrihi, as you know, it can be had in all lingas. And again, even if the original word was Bahuvachana, the Bahuvrihi can have all vachanas. Because the Anya Padartha can be one. Priyaha Chatvaraha Yasya Saha iti bhavitum arhati. yayoh tau iti bhavitumurhati, yesham te iti bhavitumurhati. So all three vachanas can be seen for this word. Priya chatur is a word which is ending in chatur. Atra kim bhavati? Am agamaha bhavatyeva. Chaturanduho ramudattaha iti vihitam. Tasyapi bhavati, tadantasyapi bhavati. So sarvanamasthane pare am ityagamaha. Priyachatvaha. Priyachatur su ityasti. Sulopaha. Priyachatu aru, priyachatvaru. Nefasya visarge krite priyachatvaha iti ekavachane rupam. Priyachatvaha, priyachatvaru, priyachatvaraha. He priyachatvaha. Sambuddhau tu am sambuddhau ityanena amagamaha. So he priyachatvaha, he priyachatvaru, he priyachatvaraha ityadi. Am sambuddhau iti amagamam badhitva amagamaha. So the forms will be like chatur, say shasi priyachaturaha iti bhavati. Priyachatura, priyachaturbhyam, priyachaturbihi. There is no special karya. Gaunatve tu nut na ishyate. But one difference is when it is gauna. Shatchaturbhyascha ityanena nudagamaha na ishyate. Nut will not occur when chatur is gauna. That is apradhana. See, since this is bahurihi samasa, the word chatur is not pradhana. So gaunatve nut na bhavati. Nut na bhavati chet you have priyachatur am, priyachaturam ityeva rupam. If it is only chatur shabda, you would have chaturunam, but for this you'll have priyachaturam. And then priyachaturi, priyachaturoho, priyachaturhu. So the only difference between those is, first thing is we have both ekavachana and dvivachana, and also ami pare amaha nudagamo na bhavati iti visheshaha. Pradhanye tu syadeva. But in a samasa, if chatur is pradhana, that is, the samasa has to be like, say, karmadharaya. Paramashchate chatvarascha. The four great men, say, when you're saying something like that. Tadanim tu nut bhavati. So this nudagama gaunatvena bhavati, pradhanye bhavati. Bhavati chet paramachaturnam iti bhavati. So in pradhanya there is only bahuvachana again. So it will be exactly like chatur shabda. Paramachatvaraha, paramachaturaha ityadi paramachaturnam ityapi bhavati. Gaunatve amagamo bhavati, nudagamastu na bhavati iti visheshaha. Any questions?
How do we decide that this Ganatve and Pradhanye, they are different? Because is this Chatur Padanta also eligible for being treated as Chatur? If so,
Exactly.
how?
Yeah, there. You should look at the Vyakhyana. There should be something. Okay, I mean there will be something in the commentary. The Balamanorama says Shat Chaturbhyascha iti bahuvachana nirdeshat tadartha pradhanye eva nut iti bhavaha. That's what he says, because he says the actual thing had been, you have one thing is Shat and the other is Chatur. So there should have been, the nirdesha should have been in dvivachana as Shat Chaturoho, Shat Chaturoscha. But he is saying bahuvachana. So the bahuvachana nirdeshat tadartha pradhanye eva nut iti bhavaha. There will be some elaboration on this in the bhashya probably. So always when there is such a thing, there will be some indication by Panini which tells if some karya is not intended for gauna, the Mahabhashyakara will give some yukti for it. Okay. So here that is what Balamanorama says, that the speciality or the indication in case of Shat Chaturbhyascha lies in the bahuvachana nirdesha, saying Shat Chaturbhyaha. Panini himself is using the bahuvachana form. Okay. The question is what is the question? What is exactly is the question? The question is, I am saying there is one karya, say the amagama will occur both when chatur shabda is pradhana and gauna. And I'm saying, but nut will not occur if it is gauna. Okay. How do we decide that is the question. Because both of them are in the angadhikara. Padangadhikare tasya cha tadantasya cha iti bhavatyeva. The karya should happen both for the word intended and tadanta. Okay. Tadante pradhanasya bhavati gaunasya na bhavati iti katham nirnayah iti prashnaha. How do we decide if some karya applies both in pradhanya and gaunatva, and some karya will not apply if it is gauna? Okay. The general case is it will apply for both. Tadantasya ityukte pradhane api bhavati gaune api bhavati is the general case. But there are cases where they say gaune na bhavati pradhane eva bhavati. Some cases where they say yatra pradhanyam tatraiva bhavati. For example, if you saw the sarvanama sthana, so they said samyopasarjani bhutaha na sarvadayah. So any karya intended for sarvanama will not apply for when the sarvanama is gauna. Okay, there was a direct vartika. So his question was, how do we decide that here? How do we decide that nudagama will not apply when the word chatur is gauna? So the answer given is, there is something in the Vyakhyana, there is some indication given either by Panini or by Patanjali in the Bhashya or the Vartikakara, of course, which will indicate that. So the Balamanoramakara says the indication here is the Bahuvachana Nirdesha in Shat Chaturbhyascha. Because if he is just in normal course, you have one particle Shat, you have one particle Chatur, so together it should have been Dvivachana. But Panini is specifically using Bahuvachana, indicating that when it is Nitya Bahuvachana, that is when these words are all Pradhana. Shat Samya occurs for again numerals, they are all Nitya Bahuvachanas. Pancha, Shat, Sapta, Ashta, all of them are numerals. So Bahuvachana Nirdeshena kim nyayate? Yatra yatesham Bahuvachane eva prayogaha. Nitya Bahuvachanantatvam. Arthat yatra pradhanyam asti. Nitya Bahuvachanantatva will occur only when they are pradhana. So tatra eva nud bhavati. Iti Panini is indicating indirectly by the Bahuvachana Nirdesha, which is pointed out by Patanjali in the Bhashya, and that is why Dikshitar has derived that. Okay. Any other questions?
Could it be possibly there's a distinction between the number and the ordinal number, like the 4 and the 4? Could there be a distinction between a number and an ordinal number, in the sense 4 versus 4?
4 and 4th. Yes, for yes, certainly. Chaturtha will be 4th, and Chatur is 4. There are suffixes which are given for such, we call it as Puranarthaka Pratyaya. Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, and Eka, Ekam, Dve, Trini, etc. There is a difference. They are all Tadhitas, the Puranarthaka Pratyayas. Okay. So you have Vedhantaha Pullingaha, Priya Chatur Shabdaha. So Sarvani Vachanani Bhavanti Sarvanamasthāneshu Chaturanaduho Ramudataha iti am athava sambuddhau sambuddhau ityanena amagamaha. Ami gaunatvat षट्चतुर्भ्यश्च इत्यनेन नुडागमो न भवति प्रियचतुराम. So that would be the differentiating factor between the chatur by itself and in a samasa as priyachatur. Then la, ha, ya, vara, la, lakarantaha pullingaha. There are no lakaranta pullingas. It's just there are some cases where grammar goes on a theoretical even though grammar is meant to prayuktanam idam anvakhyanam. Bhashyakara very clearly says prayuktanam idam anvakhyanam. Vyakarana is only a discussion of words which are used. Shishta prayoge yani padani santi tesham anvakhyanam kriyate. It is spashtataya uchyate. But still, for theory's sake or for the love of grammar. There are many cases where we try to create words artificially which may or most likely not there used in prayogas. Okay, so this is one of those words, and one of the most popular ways of creating these is you take a pratipadika, convert it to a dhatu, so there will be some change, and then convert it back to a pratipadika, and you get back something different, which is the purpose of say sanadyanta dhatu. So it says kamalam kamalam va achakshanaha kamal. There is a sutra which gives a pratyaya called nich, tat karoti tadachaste. So doing something or speaking or telling something. In that sense, there is a pratyaya called nich which belongs to the sanadis. There are 12 pratyayas under sanadis. This is one of those. Kamalam kamalam va achakshanaha, somebody who says, who speaks of it. Kamala is the lotus or Kamala Lakshmi. Either way, those are both pratipadikas, Kamala and Kamala. Tasmata nich iti pratyaya kriyate. Nich pratyaya krite ato lopaha ityanena upadhayaha lopo bhavati. The akara is deleted by ato lopaha. Okay, so Kamal I iti bhavati. Idanim quip pratyaya kriyate. So kartari quip. This is a general way of converting a dhatu to a pratipadika. Quip pratyaya krite nichaha ikaraha. So this E is coming from nich. The E is deleted by neraniti. The sutra says nehe lopaha. The nich is deleted. You have kamal v. Vakarasya verapraktasya tenena lopaha, which you should be familiar with now. So now you are ended up with a lakaranta word which is kamal. Lakarantaha pullingaha. As I told, there is no prayoga. This is just a theoretical thing of what would happen if there were a lakaranta pullinga. And answer is there is no special karya at all. There is absolutely nothing. So pratyaha halyabhyaha ityanena sulopaha kamal iti bhavati. Kamalau kamalaha. Kamal au kamalau. Kamal as traya visargya kamalaha. Gray. So there is nothing at all. Kamalam kamalau kamalaha etc. It goes on. Kamal su iti pratyaya. Lakaraha, it is still in. In extends still lan. So la is included in. So in koho iti adhikare adesha pratyayohu ityanena shatve kamal shu iti bhavati. So there is no karya which is specific for a lakaranta. It's all a general can happen even otherwise. Okay. So there is nothing. Kamal shu. Theoretically, what would happen if there is a lakaranta word? That is all.
So the question here is, when you take Kamal and Su, where is Yenko Ho?
Huh?
Where is Yenko Ho in Kamal Shu?
No, the Shatva will apply only when the Sakara is preceded by in or Kavarka. That is Adhikara for Adesha Pratyayohu. In Koho Avarantasya Murdhanyaha Adesha Pratyayohu. There is an Adhikara.
That Kakara of the Kamal is qualifying that Shu, is it?
Exactly. So because that Lakara is in, we have Shatva. If it was something else, we would not have the Shatva. If it is Sharat Su, Sharatsu, there is no Shatva because the Takara does not belong to in or Kavarga. Okay. So I think we will stop here. Next we Supinah Paratvat. Next we go to Makaranta. So we have Hayavarat Lan Nyamangana Nam Nyakarantaha Chavarga Panchamaksharantaha Pada Pullingaha Nasanti. There are no words which are ending in Nya. The next one is Ma. So we deal with Makaranta Pullingas, which we will see in the next class. So before that, some prayogas which you can look at for the before the next class. There's something very special. Just, I mean, it's all just for reference where you find it. We saw Turashat yesterday. Sankrandano Duschavanas Turashan Meghavahanaha. इति अमरकोशे इन्द्रस्य पर्यायेषु विद्यते महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाताः येषां लोक इमाः प्रजाः. So as usual there are lot of prayogas for the word chatur. So try to just collect a few of them. Very easy. The prakriya is very easy. It's just an example. So that was from the Bhagavad Gita. This is a Subhashita, a very famous one. Yatha chaturbhihi kanakam parikshyate. The word has been left out here. Kanakam parikshyate nikharshana chedana tapatadanaihi तथा चतुर्भिः पुरुषः परीक्ष्यते कुलेन शीलेन गुणेन कर्मणा. धर्मेण चतुरो वर्णान् पालयन् क्लेशमाप्नुहि. चतुरः वर्णान् पालयन्, looking after the 4 varnas. So chatura here is the dvitiya bahuvachana. It's an adjective to varnan. Chaturo varnan. So again, karta karita chaiva prerakashchanumodakah sukrute dushkrute chaiva chatvaras samabhaginaha. Chaturunam ashramanam hi garhasthyam shreshtham ashramam. A quote from the Ramayana. Okay. So just look at those and we'll stop here. येनाक्षरसमां नायमधिगं नमहेश्वरात् व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected.